Hi, everybody. This is Alisa Starr. And I'm just about to get on with Omari. I'm sending him the Zoom invite right now. But first, I wanted to introduce our show a little bit. I have some items in the news that I want to talk about, like usual, right? And I also have some new art stuff going on. Oh, wait. Is there something wrong with my camera? Sorry if it's a little fuzzy down here. I know that's the good part. Ooh, and I'm wearing a cute bra today, so you can see all of my boobs, which, you know, kind of my jam. Makes me feel better. So today's snarky thing is this cunt up sticker. I really liked how it came out. I hope you can see it in all of its glory. Cunt up! You can do the super hard thing! Look at that angry elephant. It's adorable, right? And these can stick on to like laptops or telephone poles or like your mirror. And you can get them on Etsy, snarkycards.etsy.com. So that's today's snarky thing that I wanted to share with you. Additionally, I also wanted to thank anybody who's actually watching this because our microphones suck so far. We don't have a real plan. We're just having a conversation. And I don't know how entertaining it is yet. So thanks for bearing with us in the early days of the Alisa Starr Show. And by us, I mean me and Omari, because so far it's just us. But if you like to edit things, direct things, produce things, order people around, organize art projects, I would like to hear from you. That sounds amazing. And I super need your help. So, oh, there it is. That's the angle where you can get my face and my boobs and my messy kitchen. Ooh, this is another thing that I just made. The I'm sorry your penis hurts today. Wait, no, it's not I'm sorry your penis hurts today. It's I'm sorry about your penis. Sorry, I have a lot of penis cards. Anyway, it's now a mug. This can get you through some hard times, my friend. Apologizing to people for their penises. Again, available at snarkycards.etsy.com. Yay! It's Omari! Oh, and some dude wants to talk to me on Facebook. I have been having the worst Facebook interactions lately. It's my fault, though. There you are. No, you're not there yet. Omari's a big blank, everybody. Sorry about that. He's supposed to be here, but I don't see him, and I don't hear him. Yay! There he is!
Hi there.
Hello. How are you doing?
All right, yourself?
You sound kind of down, dude.
I'm eating. I just had a very long meeting. This is my first meal of the day.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry. This is my first meal of the day. I can't put this fucking plate down.
No, you shouldn't put the plate down. You should have just eaten more earlier. Like, you have to eat more food, Omari. This isn't cool. Starvation isn't as sexy as people think it is.
I wasn't starving.
I know, but you said yesterday that you only eat one meal a day, and personally, as somebody who likes you and wants you to stay alive, I think that's a bad idea.
Appreciate it.
Well, yeah, that's nice. All right, well, how about this? While you finish your plate, I will run through some of the shit I wanted to talk about today.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, cool. Okay, so first of all, update with me. I'm out of weed, and I'm too afraid to leave my house. And there's no more like weed delivery in Seattle. And I don't know. It's making me a lot more feral than I really expected.
Yeah.
And then, okay, what else? So there's the weed problem. Oh, okay. And then I did want to talk about a couple of different news articles, that I saw. I was watching The Young Turks, and Roland Martin is my other favorite guy.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah. I know who he is. He had Richard Spencer on his show a few years back.
He had who on his show?
Richard Spencer, the Nazi.
Damn, that's the first time I've heard of him letting a white guy on. That's crazy. My favorite part about Roland Martin before it became like politically imperative to make sure that I was getting my news from Black voices to me, like before it became like, oh wait, no, I can't understand this unless like Black people tell me what the undertones are of the situation. Even before that, I used to watch Roland Martin because I thought it was so adorable the way he would like tease Nikki Giovanni, and he'd tell stories about like Rosa Parks. Yeah. And like how she used to like fight with the like how they would always like fuck with each other because they were from different sororities at Howard, you know? And like just like amazing Black history like that where you're just like, you know, like, and they just the cutest little conversations where they were teasing each other, and you know, like it just made me feel like there are parts of Black culture that I myself have gotten into just because I fell in love with a writer. Yeah. That I can't often talk about with white people, but I also don't always like find, like, not all of my Black friends read the same shit as me. You know what I mean? Like, Black people aren't a monolith. So, like, I don't often get to, like, just marvel at how Nikki Giovanni has been on the front lines of every major revolution for the last 50 years. You know, like, with anybody, nobody really knows who she is besides me. So, just, you know, and just, like, those little peeks into, like, Rosa Parks, you know, bitching about some sorority, right? Like, like it's so amazing to me. And I really enjoyed watching him back then, but now it just feels like it's an emergency. Like, if you don't include him in your media, you're robbing yourself of the most reasonable perspective about what's going on in our culture. Yeah. I hear you. So, okay. So I was watching TYT and Roland Martin earlier, and there were like 3 stories that really caught my eye. The first one is the LA Sheriff's Department. Yes. Did you hear about the story? Yeah. 2 got ambushed, yes. Okay, yeah, that's the beginning. And shot, and then the protesters tried to come into the hospital, and I guess I don't know what they wanted to do. Yep, that's another part of the story. There's more to it now that's evolved, evolved since yesterday. Yeah, okay. So 2 different cops were shot. One of them in the forehead, which does not sound good for him. I can't believe he's still stable. And then the other was a lady, and she got shot in the arms, and she has a 6-year-old son. And, you know, they never care when Black people have kids. But I guess when cops do, it matters. So, you know, like, they got shot, and then it's not a good look that anti-cop protesters went to the hospital and started cheering for their deaths. Like, as somebody who's been to a protest for Black Lives Matter, I wouldn't go to that one. That's fucked up. But the cops got, super butthurt in front of the hospital when they were trying to calm the protesters down, right? And so there's all this footage of them fucking with a reporter, a local reporter, a woman. And I said this when the protests started, and white ladies were surprised that the cops were openly enjoying beating women in the protests and using it as an excuse to sexually assault and beat up on any lady they could, right? Yeah. So one of the first time I was like, oh my God, when I tweet, people pay attention, this is so exciting, was my tweet said, 50% of all cops are domestic abusers. So this is their Christmas. And I wrote that to make sure that, because it just seems like white ladies are putting their lives on the line, like their lives are more valuable than the Black women who've been protesting for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And, with that, the moms are here thing in Portland. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yeah. And the deal with the moms they were white moms. Moms have been on the front lines of moms started this movement. Black moms. Nobody cared then, right?
Right.
So, and I lived in Portland for 6 years. It is very Portlandian for a bunch of white ladies to show up and claim that they're the first mothers that have ever been in that space before. They show up to a Black female-led protest 3 years late and claim that they're the first. That is very Portlandian. Portland is very white centric and very oblivious. And so but the thing is I think that, you did need to specifically point out that the cops aren't afraid to hit white ladies on TV in order for this movement to get a little more widespread support from white ladies.
Yeah.
Apparently we decide everything. And so, I think it's good for that, but I remember the shockwave throughout the white lady community of, they're not afraid to hurt us. They'll hurt even us. Even not, we can get hurt.
Yep.
And how surprised they all were. And I was like, yeah, I get a little butthurt when my privilege bubbles popped too, but they've been hurting us for when we marry them, they hurt us. When we live with them, they hurt us. I don't know why when we openly provoke them in public, you expect them to behave better than they would behind closed doors.
Right.
So that tweet got passed around a lot because people wanted to either cheer it on or they wanted to fight about it. They were like, no, not 50%. Would you even know? Not 50% of cops are, and then people would just go look up the statistics. And, 40% of cops admit to beating their girlfriends and wives. And that's and they get to do that for free, right? They're not going to jail over it. They're not even going to get fired over it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how many openly admit. So it's got to be 50, 60, 70, I'm guessing. But anyway, so all of that was going through my head when obviously this white lady reporter was just assaulted just randomly by these cops in front of the hospital protest. Yeah. And I just watched some footage on the Young Turks where she's on the ground and you get to there are 100 people there with cameras on, right? Yeah. So you see her from all these different angles, right?
Yeah.
And they're and you can hear her say, I'm from KCCP. I'm from KCCP. Please stop it. You're hurting me. I'm from KCCP. Right? I don't even know what that news organization is, but it is a very specific sounding news organization. They knew she was a reporter. They were hurting her because she was a reporter. They purposefully broke her phone. They purposefully, it looked like they were kicking her, actually. And she's the least harmful person at this protest, right? She's not advocating the death of one of them, right?
Yeah.
It's super fucked up. So there's that. But then there is the fact that the LA Sheriff's Department has called on LeBron James to put up, I think he's already putting up money, but I don't know for sure. But no, maybe he's not. They're calling on him to put up $300,000 to catch the person who shot these cops.
Why him?
Because he wouldn't shut up and dribble a few months ago, and he said he cared about people who got hurt in the street.
Oh.
The LA Sheriff's Department randomly just tried to blackmail LeBron James for $300,000 just, and this is the thing, they haven't done any real work on the suspects. Like, they don't know who the fuck shot these cops. So far, the suspect is a young black male, which is just like basically like that's the description on every cop form already. You know, it just comes, I'm assuming it comes with the form, right? When they're like, suspect is young black male. And then they just like, then you're allowed to write in specifics. But I'm assuming that it just like comes pre-made, right? That's not even that's not an investigation. That's your dearest wish. That's your hope. That's your standard expectation of all of the criminal minds in America. So, yeah, okay. So apparently they haven't actually figured out who shot the cops. And they're already offering like $175,000 reward. And their budget is like $3.2 billion.
Billion with a B?
With a B. Already. They don't need fucking LeBron net money. One, and that doesn't include the millions of dollars every year that LA taxpayers spend outside of that police budget, in addition to the police budget, on recompensing the people, the families of the victims of the police.
I see.
So in addition to those billions, when the cops shoot us, they also charge us for the privilege of shooting us. Millions of dollars in wrongful death suits. In addition to like, we pay for the cameras that are on them that they don't show us the footage of.
Yeah.
I had this argument a couple of times with people after the Seattle shooting in CHOP.
Yeah.
They were like, what about that? And I was like, that's fucked up. We should work on getting rid of the guns. There are a lot of guns in our country. And it would be cool if we could cut down on the number of guns so that fewer people would die. Like, but that is not the same as, the cops shooting unarmed people. And they're like, why not? And I was like, because I don't pay whoever did the shooting in CHOP. I'm not paying them. Like they don't work for me. I'm not paying them to shoot each other.
Right.
But when the cops shoot at us, we're paying them to shoot at us. And then we're also paying for the mistakes they make in that shooting.
Right.
We're paying families of the victims. We're paying for therapy for the cops. We're paying for them to sit on their ass for a year or just stay home for the next year until the shooting gets resolved. Like, we pay over and over and over again every time they shoot someone.
Right.
And the people who shot each other in CHOP, I don't have that kind of investment in them. And it just seems like, part of my protesting the police has always been like, I don't want to pay you to shoot me. I don't want to pay you to shoot my neighbors. I don't want to pay a club of murderers.
Yeah.
If you want to like take care of things, if you want to help people, if you want to investigate crimes, but I haven't heard the cops investigating car theft, domestic abuse, like these are crimes that have actually happened to people that I care about in our city. And the cops were like, yeah, but we don't really care about that. They don't do shit, including investigate anymore. So, okay. So there was those parts of the story, but then the third and craziest part of the story to me, but not craziest part of the story to me, it's like, did you ever watch that TV show Oz with the hot gay sex?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little Aussie to me, but apparently in the LA County Sheriff's Department, there have been allegations from inside the department by cops that other cops are part of street gangs. And there allegedly are at least 17 different gangs that have infiltrated the LA Police Department.
The Jump Out Boys being one of them.
The Jump Out Boys? Is that what you said?
A gang unit within the police.
Oh, yeah. Okay, tell me more about that. What did you hear?
I don't know much about them. There were a few, in an article, there were a few of them mentioned, can't talk today, a few of them mentioned by name. Jump Up Boys was one of them. Guys who had committed really egregious acts of violence against the populace.
Yeah.
They had their own separate tattoos. They all had their own tattoos and whatnot on them. So
that was the thing, is there was a tattoo link. I heard that there's a TYT reported that there was an executioner. There's a gang called the Executioners within the LA Police Department, and every time one of them kills a civilian, they get a skull tattoo on their arms. It's just a cop gang. It's not affiliated with anything on the street.
Right.
And so that also makes me feel like I don't want to pay this gang of murderers anymore.
Yeah. Understandable.
They're not my murderers. They're just murderers.
You're right.
So, yeah. So the Jump Out Boys is another one. The Executioners. They also named, I mean, and the, you know, a lot of those gangs, I've always found gang culture to be incredibly sociologically interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a little bit of contact with gangs growing up in Santa Clara, which is like the suburb next to San Jose.
Yeah.
There wasn't a ton of gang activity that spilled over, but like there were some vatos that would like copy off my homework sometimes, and we make jokes together. And I know there was a I think it was a pretty big Vietnamese gang, but literally like none of them ever talked to me because they were mostly speaking Vietnamese to each other. You know what I mean? Like, it was my cousin actually joined a Filipino gang when we were in middle school.
He joined a gang?
Well,
Filipino?
I mean, first of all, yeah, it was a Filipino gang. I always thought of it as like an offshoot of the Crips or something like that. But, you know, growing up in Santa Clara, I only ever heard about the Crips and the Bloods. They were the only big two gangs going in San Jose in the 90s and 80s. So, yeah, I don't know what, she learned Tagalog and everything, actually. My cousin, I was always really impressed with the fact that she joined that gang. And she didn't really join it because she never got jumped in because she had, like, rheumatoid arthritis and shit. She just used to ride around with the guys when they were looking for people to beat up and stuff, I think. Yeah. It was really exciting. When I was 13, like, well, my whole life, I still think Deanna is the coolest person I've ever met. Like, in that stupid 8-year-old way, you think your cousin is amazing because she knows, like, all the lyrics to Cold Hearted Snake by Paula Abdul. But when she joined that fucking gang, I was just, like, I mean, those were her only friends for years. Like, she would party with her moms, you know? Like I said, she learned fucking Tagalog and shit. Like, oh, it was so cool. It was so cool. And I mean, I grew up in this culture where, like, if you looked like a vata, that meant you were pretty, right? Like, I thought gangs were really cool until, you know, my high school was a little more middle class. And then in order to be popular in my high school, you had to have a 4.0 GPA. It became highly nerdy. We used to make fun of the jocks. It was a weird school.
Hold on. I'm going to put this plate away. I'll be right back.
All right. I guess I'm really spazzy today. I didn't even notice.
Okay, I'm back.
Yay! So what kind of, I mean, like, what is your interaction with gangs been growing up? Like, did you know any?
No, nothing like that.
Where did you go to school and stuff?
Pullman, Washington.
Oh, God, there are no gangs in Pullman, right?
Yeah, we had some gang wannabes there. Someone tried to start something called ROP, which is Raiders of Pullman. That didn't last too long. And there was a guy from the Hilltop area in Tacoma who came down. I guess thinking about it now, he probably got sent there to stay away from the trouble in Hilltop. And he was from school for a while, but he never got into any gang activity.
All right.
And,
there are a lot of gangs in Tacoma. I thought it was fucking stupid bullshit when I first moved here. I was like, Tacoma? Yeah, why would the gangs in Tacoma? Like, it's nothing but white people over there. Like, how are you gonna find like? I mean, like I remember there was a girl on the bus. It was like all about, like, I used to wear I still do pretty much just blocks of red. But I think people mostly think that I'm a mentally disturbed child. So I get less like, oh, she's gang affiliated now that I'm older and it just looks weird. I think when I was younger, maybe it did look like I was into the Crips or the Blood. No, the Bloods, right? The Bloods would be red, right?
Yeah, the Bloods were red.
Yeah. So I did have somebody talk to me about how she was all into that Crip life on the Portland bus one day, like while she was sitting there, her 16-year-old self with her baby,
Yeah.
Clearly did not live inside of Portland proper, and I was a big snob about that too. I was like, if you don't live in the city, like, you're a fucking hick. They're two things, and gangs don't go with hicks. So Pullman, and then how long were you in Pullman?
For 6 years.
Okay, and then where did you go from there?
I came here to Seattle.
Okay. Were there gangs in Seattle here? Were you in school here?
Eventually, yeah. But, yeah, I mean, there still are gangs here, but not with any significance that you might think that. Yeah, there's none of that here.
Okay. Yeah, because there aren't gang wars. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is there might be gangs. There's not gang activity.
Yeah, there's not going to be the gang violence because mostly my aunt told me once when I was in Houston staying with her, I was 16, and I was like, is it more dangerous here? Is this a more dangerous city? Trying to figure out about Houston. And she's like, well, we had 3 shootings last night. She's like, but they all knew each other. They were all friends. And I mean, that was kind of the deal with gang activity at my high school too, is like, people, like, you did hear about like a stabbing at a party, but you weren't at that party. You weren't invited to that party unless you were in that gang, or unless you were in that social scene, in which case you could have gotten stabbed. Sure.
Right.
And when my Aunt Judy said that, I started to notice that, like the reason why there's white on white crime is because you usually kill the people that you hang out with.
Right.
Neighbors, and same reason why there's black on black crime, and Chinese on Chinese crime is just like you tend to kill the people and people tend to keep to themselves for the most part. So yeah, but I was aware, people would wear different like rags. That Vato look was super popular. I always thought it was pretty cute. I do love me a good hairnet. Yeah. Some chinos. It's weird because I think the white supremacists really stole the Vato look. When they got those like chinos, remember with the marching and the Jews will not replace us?
Yeah.
And they were all wearing like white t-shirts and chinos, right? Like beige slacks.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, that's the Vato look. It was so sexy on Latino men in high school. It was not pretty on the white supremacists. It just made me feel like everything I love is basic. Okay, so yeah, I always thought it was really interesting because The Wire really introduced me to this idea of like how the gang you end up in can sometimes just be about like what street you grew up on, And like it sounded like some of these gang names that they were listing at the LA Sheriff's Department were a little bit like that bit in The Wire where they were just like, the 2400 block boys or whatever. And when they said there were 17 gang affiliations, I was like, damn, the world has changed. There are so many more gangs now than there used to be when I was a kid. Like Latin Kings, Crips, and Bloods when I was a kid, tops.
Yeah.
And whatever Filipino gang my cousin was part of, right?
Yeah. Not expanded.
I don't speak Tagalog. I didn't bother to learn the name. I'm such a blabbermouth. It probably wasn't safe to tell me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's been the Latin Kings, there's been the Suernos, there's been the Maeme, the Vice Lords.
Ooh, that's a good name.
They're out of Chicago.
Oh yeah, that's where I've heard it from before. When almost everything I know about Chicago is because my favorite literary hero has been living there for the last like 50 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sarah Paretsky writes about V.I. Warshawski, this private eye, and she's been writing about this private eye in Chicago since the 70s. And she writes about the Chicago landscape. And at some point, VI was fucking with the Vice Lords a little bit. She got cut on her face. It did not go well. Turns out that she can do some pretty good street boxing, but she's no match for street gang.
I see.
Yeah. But I can tell you all about the real history of Chicago, which I learned from these fake detective books.
Really?
Yeah. I know all about the Loop. I know about some of their political shenanigans. I know about the docks and not just from like the Wire's perspective of how everybody stopped being able to work there, but I mean, Sarah Paretsky, she's kind of a progressive political activist, the writer is, and it shows through the kinds of organizations her fake detective is involved in, and all the different changes in the Loop, you know, as the rents go up and down. And yeah, it's honestly, those are the books that I read over and over again. They're like my Bible. And honestly, I think I modeled myself after her character in my professional life. Like, whenever I don't know what to do, I think to myself, like, what would V.I. Warshawski say right here? She always knows how to get under people's skin. And like, sometimes I'll get into like reporter mode, and I'll try and figure out who owns something and go fuck with them, you know? Like when I found the tear gas manufacturer representative for our area, and I started calling him and asking him what the side effects of tear gas are, turns out they're abortions.
They're abortifacients? They cause abortions? Oh
yeah. Tear gas, in addition to just burning through like your whole like air tract, also causes periods, unexpected periods, and that is code for abortion. If you had anything in the womb, it's just getting flushed out right away. And I mean, I started calling him. I just made a couple calls. I could start calling him again. They supposedly just banned tear gas, right? We were talking about that, right?
Yeah.
In Portland. But it was 100 days. And if you're a woman who's been out there 100 days, I mean, like, how fucked up is your reproductive cycle? What are the long-term effects of that? You know, like, that's something that people are going to want to know about. So, so I dug in pretty deep to get to him to figure out, like, I'm assuming that women who work in the factory making this shit have probably got some warnings, right, about that as a possible consequence.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that there is a health warning somewhere in this package of tear gas, you know, like, to let you know that, or maybe it's just like all of the other reproductive rights shit, and America just doesn't give a shit, and we're just happy to let women die and maybe have babies and maybe not.
Well, it goes back to using women as incubators, baby factories, I think.
It does, but the maternal death rate has been rising in America for the last 15 years.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that's among vulnerable populations. So long as the right women, which in this case would be the white women, are a healthy dosage of them are allowed to conceive. I mean, I think that's all they really care about. And if a bunch of poor women get knocked off, that's fine. Reproductive freedom is one of those fundamental rights that they keep trying to dismantle. They're not going to stop. And I mean, they're not going to stop abortions either. They're just going to stop safe abortions.
They've already stopped. Since coronavirus started this year, abortions have been considered elective. I don't know what's elective about having a baby. I don't know, like, if you don't have a choice, it's not fucking elective. And it's not like you can get, it's not like you can opt out of the pregnancy without the procedure, without the B42.
Yeah.
So when I told Lydia about the tear gas, I was like, causes abortion. She's like, twofer. She's like, bonus, because you can't get a legal abortion right now. You can't get and the pill isn't readily available, right? And actually women are still often prosecuted for miscarrying babies. Like you can go to jail if you have a miscarriage. You're right. If you're the right kind of woman, if like I as a white woman might go to jail for a miscarriage, whereas a black woman, you know, they're not going to prosecute that for. You're right. And abortion's kind of a tricky subject for me too, because this leads me to the next most horriblest story of the day. They have been I'm sorry. ICE camps have started to sterilize women in their care.
Yes, I've been reading about that too. I'm not surprised. This is an age-old practice.
It's crazy that it's something that we read about in the fucking Native Americans and something that we did to them 400 years ago that we think is kind of an asshole move.
Black folks too.
Yet, what?
Black folks too. This is
yes.
The Nazis got it from us during the eugenics movement. So
that's the other thing. Nazis copied us. Nazis copied fucking America.
Right.
No, yeah, and you're right. That's the other thing is that it's abortion's a really weird issue for me because I see a lot of the women that I want to follow and want to support as a protester, you know, Black women who are fighting for human rights, who talk about how they're, you know, abortion clinics in their neighborhoods are genocidal. And it's sort of that age-old like feminist divide between white women and Black women needing different kinds of rights because we're treated differently.
Yeah.
You know, like white women wanted to go to work in the 50s and Black women were like, we've been working for 400 years. We would like to stop now. We would, you know, they had the longest work history of the United States. They're like, I wish we could take a break from working. Why are you fighting about that when, you know, like we're still getting killed in the streets? Like there's, you know, like they just have different priorities and their communities are treated differently. And I think every woman should have an option and should be able to abort. But I also I don't want us to sterilize anyone who doesn't want to be sterilized.
Well, abortion isn't sterilization, and I don't think it's genocidal either. One person getting an abortion does not affect the whole of Black women. So I think that's reaching. The origins of it lie in Margaret Sanger, who was a known eugenicist and racist, and was the founder of Planned Parenthood. But times change, and the need for reproductive freedom is there. I mean, reproductive freedom is just one aspect of bodily autonomy. It's a fundamental aspect, to be sure. But you can make the argument that all Black people are subjected to some degree of bodily lack of bodily control. But reproductive freedom remains a right for everybody, regardless of the individual's genetic or racial makeup, is what I'm trying to say. I understand. I understand why people think like that, but I don't agree that it's genocidal.
So I didn't realize that Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist.
Yes, her whole thing was to ostensibly the whole reason behind Planned Parenthood was to stop poor and black women from reproducing. But for reproductive freedom, I mean, it was ostensibly, I mean, that wasn't the official goal, but it was understood, something of an open secret. Her, Teddy Roosevelt, John Harvey Kellogg were all proponents of the eugenics movement. John Harvey Kellogg with Kellogg's breakfast cereals.
Yeah, I know. I actually know a little bit about some of this because Murdoch Mysteries is obsessed with Canadian history and had a whole eugenicist storyline that involved Mr. Kellogg. They were like, yeah, he was good at breakfast cereal, but he was also a dick. So Kellogg, Roosevelt, and Sanger.
Those are three of the big proponents. I'm sure there are many others, but Sanger in particular, the conservatives have twisted her history, and unfortunately a lot of black people have fallen for it, to sit there and say that abortion is genocidal, that there's going to be mandated abortion, they want to stop. I mean, if that was a plan, they want to stop black people from reproducing. If that was the plan, all I have to say is it's not working. It's not. I just think it's reaching a bit, but that's what happens when you are prone to conspiracy theories, which does have some basis in reality because they kill us in other ways. But I don't think.
I mean, that's the thing is that they have been committing genocide on you. We have been committing genocide on you as the people for hundreds of years. However, we have also been breeding you as a people for millions of years. People talk,
go ahead. Sorry.
People, well, I mean, this trope about big black men being scary is a little ridiculous when we created the large, muscular, athletic black man. It's a little dumb for us to resent that when, I mean, for 150 years in this country, at least, like in slavery times, there was all kinds of like white people making black people rape each other so that we could have the best slave babies ever.
Right.
I mean, of course, those genetics are going to end up being fucking crazy amazing sometimes. You know, like America, I feel like white America has been inbreeding for the last 300 years. And because of the way we fucked with your genetics, like black America has like sort of like a thoroughbred, like impeccably, like you guys got some of the benefits of that now.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Did I get creepy in the middle?
What do you mean?
By calling you a thoroughbred?
No, nothing like that. No, I think I understood the context. Like
you are like, they breed horses so that they get the best horses, right? And I feel like because of slavery, I mean, in the most brutal, fucked up way possible, we bred the African American population so that it was the most strong, beautiful, and so they could eat literal shit and still have tons of energy. And I mean, all of that, everything that we did to you before has made you an amazing, like, breeding line. And the fact that we managed to make it, the fact that we managed to make that in and of itself its own death sentence with this big scary black man trope is really fucked up since we created that. To go back to what I was saying in the first place. Sorry, go ahead. You say something now.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I can't really find anything to disagree with.
Aw, that's nice of you to say. I feel like I stumbled through that.
It's the it's the general feeling of control, and Black people historically have not had bodily autonomy, so it's easy to mistake abortion with some sort of genocidal plan, because that's what happens.
Everything else is actually a genocidal plan.
Yeah, I mean, you can point to things that are geared toward and made for the destruction of Black people as a whole.
Yes. Not to mention Tuskegee, and crack and shit. Like I was saying earlier, even just like the maternal death rate, like that goes doubly for Black women and women of color. I mean, fucking Serena Williams almost died because the nurses didn't believe that she was in pain and that she knew her own body.
Right.
And like, as her husband said, like her body is arguably the United States' like most prized possession. Like that is one of the most amazing things we've ever produced, Serena Williams.
Yeah, I think you're quite right.
Yeah. So, yeah, everything else is a genocidal. I agree with you too, but I also feel like I never want to disagree with an ardent Black woman, because she's probably right about most of it. That's kind of my feeling. My backup feeling is to always just find the nearest Black woman and just agree with everything she says.
I don't know if blindly agreeing is the best thing, but I definitely encourage people to listen to Black women as a whole. If you really want to know how society's doing, you always look at the most vulnerable people and how they're being treated.
Yep. They have nothing to lose by stating the truth.
Yeah, my latest thing is just telling people to listen to Black women.
Yeah.
Black people, but listen to Black women for sure.
I mean, they have led every major movement in America. Every major social change movement that has resulted in more rights for people has been led by Black women. Every time I discover that, I rediscover that, I'm always like, okay, all right, your basic life philosophy of just follow the Black lady is still right on track.
Good one.
Thanks. I'm glad you like it. So what have you, how is your incarceration going, my friend?
Well, I'm stepping out tonight to help a coworker. I got a message in the mail that a piece of equipment arrived, so I'm going to pick up the mail. I got a text message, I mean to say. And I was on the phone with coworkers today. We had the team meeting, so I got a coworker in need of going to the grocery store, so I'm going to go run and pick him up.
Aww, you're the nicest.
He won't be able to get groceries otherwise, and he's in no shape to be standing around waiting for the bus. I'm just going to go and get him.
Oh, that's super nice. And today is a much better day to go than yesterday. I mean, it's down 50 points. The air quality was at 226 yesterday, I think, and today it's at 174.
Oh, that's
I've been
good.
checking it all day. So, yesterday you could have really hurt yourself just going to the grocery store with him, and today both of you will be a lot better off.
Oh, well, that's good.
And I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter if you go today or tomorrow. It looks like it's going to stay at, the air quality is going to stay at 170-ish. And to remind you, anything over 5 is dangerous.
Anything over 5, got it.
Yeah. So, and you can look this up on, I just look up like Seattle air quality today or right now. And the weather website has a constant measurement and then a forecast of air quality. So it's fucking crazy to me because it's like, okay, so before I go outside, I have to, 1, check on the coronavirus cases in Seattle, right? And then maybe double check on the world, see kind of where we're falling and things, right? And then 2, check the air quality now, right? Consider whether or not I should buy a gas mask. Again, think about going to Amazon and ordering it. Worry that it's too much money. Put it off again, right?
Yeah.
And then also like debating, I mean, there's like 100 points between unhealthy and very unhealthy, right? Like trying to decipher this new measurement of how fucked up our air is fucking terrifying and like as overwhelming as I found the coronavirus stuff.
Yeah, it's a major concern. It's why I got all my shopping done on Friday and for food, you know what I mean? And grilled on Sunday. So I knew I would have, I knew it was going to be the last grill session of the year, but I didn't realize how bad things were going to be.
Yeah.
Until the guest came. So I was like, okay, I got to grill. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you did that. It's fucking terrifying. And, you know, I haven't been outside that much because pretty much as soon as this started, my foot just died, right?
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, now that I've been just limping around my house for the last couple of days, I realized this is usually what happens in the snow to my feet. You know, like I can tell when it's like there's a cold snap outside because in my bones, like it swells up and they just stop working for a little while they get used to it. But I don't have to go outside in order for that to happen inside my feet, right?
Yeah.
It's trippy to me that air quality has the same effect on them as fucking cold. Like, I never thought about fucking oxygen before, and now I'm so angry at myself for not taking advantage of it and hoarding it when it was still clean everywhere and free. Now it's going to be so expensive for us to have clean air. Like, it's another thing we're going to have to figure out how to clean ourselves in order to continue to exist. It's like right up there with our shitty water and God.
And you know that people are going to try and put a price tag on it too.
Yes, that's what I'm saying is I'm afraid to go online and look at gas masks because I know that they're going to be like $300 on Amazon and you can breathe clean and free.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know yet. I'm sure I'll look it up tonight and I'll talk to you about it tomorrow, but I'm not looking forward to it. But honestly, I do want everyone I know to get a gas mask this week or in the next couple weeks because this isn't going to be the last time that we're going to have shitty air.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, it's past time I got some.
Yeah, past time. You know what was really frustrating is I was talking to my sister on the phone yesterday and she was like, I can't believe I got rid of all my gas masks. And I was like,
more than one?
Yeah, she had more than one. And then I remembered Joy went to Burning Man every year for 10 years, right?
Yeah.
We grew up in the place where they started Burning Man, like San Jose, like those assholes are the ones that started it. And I remember in 92, like my AMRA in high school was like, I walked into a coffee shop downtown and there's a picture of me blown up on the wall, topless at Burning Man. And I'm like, you're fucking 15 years old. What? And I was like, wait, topless? She was like, yeah, it's just so hot. You're just naked all the time. And I was like, all right, okay. That was high school for me, right? Like, so Joy had like, for Burning Man, she had a whole closet. She was like one of those people who had all the nice shit, right? Yeah. She had a whole closet of outfits and costumes and all the good camping gear, and she knew how to make sure that she had enough water and all that other shit. But I mean, she's like, yeah, I had like 4 or 5 different gas masks, but I just thought that they were like, you know, Burning Man's so cliche, right? She stopped going and she was like, I guess I don't have to hang on to any of this shit, you know?
I can't believe she got rid of them. She had more than 5, you say?
Yeah, she had about 5, I'm guessing. Yeah, totally, yeah. Because the thing about Burning Man is, like, you know how the dirt there is like silts and it gets in everything, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so, like, you can always tell, like, who took what to Burning Man because it comes back and there's no way to get any of the dirt out of it for the whole year. Nobody really bothers. And it's sort of like a badge of courage. Like, oh, I was at the burn, and you know, and like how people always act like they think they're so cool because they went to Burning Man.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that she was like, yeah, it was all covered in Burning Man dust anyway. So it was like, I don't need everyone to know that I went to the burn once, and so I have this gas mask, you know? Like, yeah, but the other thing is that Joy is like the queen of Goodwill. Like, she knows what Goodwill store in Seattle to go to for what shit.
Yeah.
She's, you know, like, you know, where you can get like dollar furniture. You know, she, like, the people who manage the bins where you paw through like just like a bin full of old rejected Goodwill garbage.
Yeah.
And you buy it for $1.68 a pound or whatever. Like, the managers of the bins know her by name and like gossip with her about the regulars there. Like, anytime I enter any Goodwill with her, I always feel like I'm with royalty. Yeah. So she's like, I guess I'll just pick up some more at the bins. I'll put it back on the list. She used to throw these huge parties where she was like, everybody would bring like, you know, 4 or 5 different good pieces of clothes to trade. And she would go to the Goodwill bins, and over a month she would find 70 pounds worth of good quality designer clothes that she would bring to these clothing swaps. And she would, 1,000 people would show up. She'd make money. Everybody would talk about it for months. Like, that was how she made her living for a lot of years too. So she's like, if you ever need anything, if you tell me, I can put it on our list. Like, she can
That's
get
great.
it for like free. You know what I mean? Like, she's one of those people who was like she decorated my entire apartment. She got me like the best quality furniture, like desk, television, comfiest couch ever, you know, $50. Shit like that. Like, she taught me that things are always free or cheap enough that you can have whatever you want. You just have to decide what you want.
Good philosophy. I like that.
Yeah. She's a getter. She's a well, they call them pickers, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense. Pretty cool. I like that.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna let you go. This was a really good conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks for being my friend. Oh, there we go. Look at those cute eyes you've got.
Thank you.
You're mostly closed today, so.
I was getting dozy. I woke up. I can't remember when I did. Like 5 o'clock in the morning or something like that.
Oh, Jesus.
Odd sleep cycles. But I'm going to try and put it into that. At any rate, yeah.
Or lean in, right? And just make sure that you're awake for the times you need to be awake. But, oh, there it is. There's that cute Omari face. Okay, well, I'm gonna sign off with Happy Revolution.
Happy Revolution. All right, I'll get to work on music for you.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in a little bit, like off air or whatever. And yeah, we're gonna try and incorporate more music into the show.
Okay.
Yeah. Starring Omari Taylor. Oh my god, I love it so much. Oh my god, am I doing it? Oh my god.
Yeah,
oh my god. Oh wait, is it like that? Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
okay,
like
cool. Yeah. Happy Revolution.
Happy Revolution.
Right. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Stop video. Are we over? Did we do it? No.
No, I think we're still connected.
Yeah. All right. Here it is. Okay. Happy Revolution.
Happy Revolution.
Happy Revolution.